Let's talk about the modern workplace. You've probably seen the posters or sat through the seminars. Organizations today constantly emphasize psychological safety. They tell their employees, speak up, challenge our assumptions, we value your honesty. But there is a glaring contradiction built into this demand. If systems genuinely want us to tell the truth, why does honesty so often carry a massive professional cost? Let us look at the case of Dr. Raj Mattu. He was a cardiologist working within the National Health Service. Following the exact guidelines he was given, he raised serious concerns about overcrowding and patient safety at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. He did exactly what the system asked of him. Yet years later, legal tribunals concluded he had been unfairly dismissed, and that his whistleblowing was directly tied to that dismissal. When someone disrupts the status quo, the stated values of an institution rarely protect them. To understand why this happens, imagine an organization as a cave. This cave is built slowly over decades. Inside it live established routines, entrenched power relationships, and shared professional identities. The people inside this structure share a comforting narrative. They tell themselves, "We're good people, we're helping others, we're doing our best." And for the most part, they genuinely believe it. But then, somebody arrives carrying a torch. That torch is an uncomfortable truth, and it shines a sudden light onto something previously hidden, a risk, a harm, or a systemic failure. At that exact moment, the institution faces a binary choice. The people inside can either step toward the light to address the failure, or they can protect the comfort of the cave by attacking the person holding the torch. This map shows the 6 stages framework. It acts as a diagnostic tool that tracks exactly how an institution behaves when it decides to defend itself. As you can see, it charts a predictable, mechanical escalation from a neutral baseline downward into negative stages. When a truth first disrupts the environment, the system enters stages -1 and -2, the minimization phase. The immediate reaction here is to build a barrier and deflect the incoming concern. You will hear specific language designed to shrink the problem. People will say, "You're exaggerating," or "You've misunderstood the situation," or "Let's not make this bigger than it is." This initial rejection rarely comes from active malice. It is driven by a very normal human instinct to avoid discomfort. But that simple avoidance hardens into a rigid defense and starts the path toward retaliation. If the uncomfortable truth persists, the organization drops into stages -3 and -4. This is where the system shifts into active defensiveness. The defining psychological shift of this phase is misdirection. The institution's attention pivots completely away from the original safety concern and locks on to the person raising it. The system begins to formally question the individual. Instead of asking how to fix the problem, they ask, what are their motives? Can we trust them? Specific, weaponized labels attached to the truth teller. They are quickly branded as difficult, emotional, disruptive, aggressive, and negative. The devastating effect of this shift is that the messenger becomes the story. The group redefines the exact person attempting to save the system as the primary threat to the system. That brings us to the final descent, stages -5 and -6. Here, collective fear narrows the organization's thinking entirely, forcing them into a completely closed loop. At this extreme stage, self-preservation takes over. Protecting the organization's existing power dynamics and public reputation becomes vastly more important than the truth, shutting out the initial concern entirely. You can see the difference structurally. In a psychologically safe system, truth is absorbed as actionable information. In an unsafe system, truth is treated as a hostile attack and aggressively repelled. By this point, raising a concern is structurally punished as an act of betrayal against the group. The transformation is complete. The organization that once told its people to speak up is now fully engaged in systemic retaliation against the one who did. You don't have to be a doctor in a hospital or tied up in a legal tribunal to know what this feels like. This exact pattern plays out in a school desk, a corporate office, a local church, or a community board. You might have questioned a standard workflow or pointed out a subtle exclusion. And almost overnight, you found yourself isolated, labeled by your peers as a negative disruption. This isolation did not happen because your character changed. It happened because exposing a rigid truth threatened the established comfort of the room. Your torch changed the room, and the room reacted. We often talk about speaking up as a matter of individual courage, but it tells us much more about the environment than it does about the individual. When someone speaks up, they are running a real-time diagnostic stress test. That single action reveals whether an environment is genuinely safe enough to handle reality. An organization's actual behavioral culture is proven during moments of sharp disagreement. It is not found in mission statements, values posters, or slick corporate websites. An institution's true nature is never revealed by how it manages comfort and agreement. It is exclusively revealed by how it retaliates against, or embraces, a clear challenge to its power.